Alright, what we're seeing here is that the device should be 0W, but right now I can't connect to Wi-Fi, so I'm waiting for my USB adapter cable so I can connect it to my keyboard and then I can configure my Wi-Fi. If it really doesn't work, I'll switch to the Xiangchen 3B. This is a DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor, and this is a DHT12 temperature and humidity sensor. Let's take a look. It's fine. This one also doesn't specify, but the temperature error should be about 2 to 3 degrees Celsius, and this one is plus or minus 5 degrees Celsius. This one is a bit more expensive, and this one is a bit cheaper. This is a GY30 light sensor. Let's turn it to the front side. You can see the marking on the right side. And then there's this very small module. All of them can be configured in ESP Home and added to the Home System Smart Home platform. First, take a look at this screen. This is running on my Raspberry Pi 3B development board with 2 GB of RAM using the system deployed on PVE. PVE can directly install our Home System Smart Home OS, which includes the most complete App Store and all its applications. But this Raspberry Pi Zero device that I have here only has 512 megabytes of RAM, which is actually not a lot of memory. And it was manufactured 7 or 8 years ago in 2017, so its overall performance is quite weak, such as the CPU, GPU, and other processing capabilities. I asked ChatGPT, and if I want it to run our smart home system, I can only deploy it using Docker, because Docker is relatively lightweight and easier to manage. Although its backup and migration features are somewhat lacking, it only takes up about 1 or 200 megabytes of memory if we use the entire home system. First, the prerequisite is that we either flash the entire firmware onto the card or use a virtual machine in PVE to flash the firmware, although I personally recommend the PVE method as it allows for full disk backup and migration. But after installing PVE and a semi-system, it already takes up about 1 GB of memory, and installing the full Home Assistant would be very tight with just another 1 GB. That's why I usually use multiple ports plus ES. I use the EAP Home method to connect our temperature, humidity, and light sensors. As for smart home systems, for me personally, the most important function is, first of all, temperature and humidity. I can place these temperature and humidity sensor modules in various rooms, such as the kitchen, bedroom, living room, and bathroom, 5 or 6 in total. Then I can monitor their temperatures in real time. This even includes outside the rooms because the indoor and outdoor temperatures are different. In the bedroom, for example, I can clearly know what the temperature is in the morning, what it is at night, and when the hottest time of the day is. I can also check whether the air conditioner keeps the temperature stable at 16 degrees Celsius. Secondly, at night I can monitor the temperature outdoors. How low can the temperature get? For example, it could drop to 10 degrees Celsius or even 0 degrees Celsius. At that point, you need to pay attention to keeping warm when going out and make sure to wear proper outerwear and coats. This is just a more precise sensor, that's all. There's no difference when it's on. So if you set up a Home Assistant smart home system and add temperature and humidity sensors, with 5 or 6 sensors, you'll already get your money's worth. Why? Because you can see things like a real-time temperature dashboard, and you can also view historical temperature data. A line chart. Then you can check the temperature at any time during the day, so the system allows you to trace back the history. What's most important, I've been using this light sensor for a year now. I place it on the window facing outside, so every morning I know exactly when the sun rises, when it sets, when it's completely dark, and when it's just starting to get light. This helps determine when you get up in the morning. And although there are dedicated websites online for this, the websites that provide sunrise and sunset statistics and predicted schedules are nowhere near as reliable as your own light sensor, even if it's already bright outside your door. The public statistics aren't necessarily accurate. They can be off by 5 to 10 minutes. You can use the sensor at specific times, for example, to turn on streetlights or perform other operations like that. Yeah, for me, my daily routine and work schedule now depend heavily on when the daylight starts to fade. I've decided that it's best to get up just before sunrise, and when the sun sets, I plan to stay home and do some work or use things at home. I don't plan to go out. It's not very safe to go out at night, and the temperature at night is also very low. It can also be integrated into our home set system. The main thing is that they all have a historical chart data record so you can check your data from yesterday, last week, 3 months ago, or last year. For example, greenhouse charts, light levels, and so on. All of these can be integrated into ESP Home. That's all I wanted to talk about today.